Hello my friends, Dr. Mandell here. Today I'm going to share something that's going to completely change the way you look at building muscle after 60. Now, we all know eggs have been called the perfect protein, and yes, they're great, but there's one food that's even cheaper, easier to digest, and can help you build muscle faster than eggs, especially if you're over 60 point. They told you muscle loss after 60 is inevitable, that it's just part of getting old. But what if they were wrong? What if one of the simplest, cheapest foods on earth could quietly rebuild your strength, cell by cell, faster than the eggs everyone praises? This isn't marketing, it's science, and it starts with a seed the size of your thumbnail, the lentil. For decades, researchers have watched older adults lose muscle mass at alarming rates. By 60, most people lose nearly 30% of their muscle fibers. That weakness doesn't just make you feel frail. It raises your risk of falls, slows metabolism, and steals your independence. Yet deep in that humble lentil lies the exact formula your body is starving for: pure, plant-based protein packed with leucine, the same muscle triggering amino acid found in expensive supplements. When scientists at McMaster University studied leucine's effect on aging muscles, they discovered it switches on the body's muscle-building signal called mTOR, a cellular command that tells your muscle fibers to grow again. Eggs contain leucine, yes, but lentils deliver it with a powerful combination of magnesium, iron, and slow-digesting starch that keeps that signal active longer. Imagine every bite quietly telling your muscles, rebuild, repair, stay strong. As we age, our stomach acid weakens, our digestion slows, and we absorb less protein from animal foods. That's why so many seniors eat well yet remain weak. Their bodies simply can't extract the nutrients fast enough. Lentils change that story. Their protein is bound with soluble fiber, allowing a gentle, steady release of amino acids instead of a sudden flood. It's like giving your muscles an IV drip of nourishment throughout the day rather than one heavy dump that goes unused. In clinical trials, older adults who replaced part of their meat or egg intake with legumes like lentils saw up to a 30% improvement in muscle endurance in just 12 weeks. And the secret wasn't just protein, it was bioavailability. Lentils are low in anti-nutrients when soaked or cooked properly, making their amino acids easier to absorb than many animal proteins for aging guts. Think about that. The very food often dismissed as poor man's protein could outperform the expensive protein powders flooding supermarket shelves. And the body knows it. Within 30 minutes of eating lentils, your blood's amino acid levels begin to rise, and they stay elevated for hours. That means your muscles are never starving, even between meals. Meanwhile, the iron in lentils delivers oxygen to every muscle fiber, helping your mitochondria, your cell's energy factories, work more efficiently. This is why people who regularly eat lentils often report not just strength, but vitality. Their muscles don't just grow, they come alive. But there's more. Lentils contain polyphenols, powerful plant compounds that fight oxidative stress. After 60, oxidative damage accelerates, breaking down muscle tissue faster than your body can rebuild it. These polyphenols act like microscopic shields, protecting your muscle fibers from the free radicals that come with aging, poor diet, and pollution. A 2022 study published in Nutrients found that older adults who consumed diets high in legume-based polyphenols had significantly lower markers of muscle inflammation and higher grip strength compared to those who didn't. That's not coincidence, that's regeneration. Let's talk about cost. A single serving of lentils costs less than 10 cents, yet provides nearly the same protein punch as 3 large eggs. Eggs come with cholesterol, saturated fat, and for some, digestive discomfort. Lentils come with none of that baggage, no cholesterol, no hormones, just clean, plant-based protein wrapped in nature's perfect fiber shell. That fiber doesn't just help your digestion, it actually feeds your gut bacteria, which in turn release short-chain fatty acids that lower systemic inflammation. And inflammation is the silent enemy of muscle repair. When you eat lentils regularly, you're not just feeding yourself, you're calming the very environment where your muscles grow. Now, imagine starting your day with a bowl of warm, spiced lentils instead of another fried egg. Your blood sugar remains steady, your energy doesn't crash. Your insulin response stays gentle, preventing the spike that blocks fat burning and protein absorption. Scientists call this the second meal effect. When your first meal stabilizes your metabolism for the rest of the day, lentils do exactly that. By controlling insulin, they help your body channel nutrients into muscle rather than fat. And yet this miracle food sits ignored on most supermarket shelves. Most people don't realize that NASA once studied lentils as a potential staple for astronauts precisely because they deliver maximum nutrition in minimum space. Think about it. If lentils are good enough to fuel human muscle in zero gravity, they're more than good enough to rebuild yours here on Earth. The evidence keeps stacking up. In one study from the University of Guelph, participants over 60 who ate a legume-rich diet showed measurable increases in lean muscle and metabolic rate, even without change in their exercise routines. Their muscles became more responsive to daily activity, as if they'd turned back the biological clock. So what's really happening inside your body when you eat them? The moment lentil protein enters your system, sensors in your muscle cells detect the rise in amino acids. MTR flicks on like a light switch. Satellite cells, those dormant repair units along your muscle fibers, awaken. They start fusing, multiplying, thickening every strand of tissue. Meanwhile, your pancreas releases a modest pulse of insulin, just enough to drive those amino acids into the muscle without flooding your bloodstream with sugar. That's the sweet spot. It's precision nutrition. Every gram counts. Every molecule works. And here's the most surprising part. While eggs require careful cooking to avoid oxidation of cholesterol, which can harm blood vessels, lentils can be boiled, sprouted, or pressure cooked without losing their amino acid profile. In fact, sprouted lentils contain even higher levels of leucine and lysine, giving your muscles the two most critical building blocks for repair. Sprouting also increases vitamin C, the very nutrient that helps your body absorb the iron within. Nature designed this food to be self-balancing, self-enhancing, self-healing. The tragedy is that we've been trained to see power in expensive protein powders, when the strongest solution has been sitting quietly in a $2 bag in every grocery store. Lentils don't promise overnight transformation, they promise steady, lasting strength. They work in silence, rebuilding your legs so stairs no longer intimidate you, feeding your shoulders so carrying groceries feels effortless, fueling your heart so every beat pumps cleaner blood. They're not just a food, they're a tool for independence. So the next time someone tells you eggs are the gold standard of protein, remember this truth: gold doesn't build muscle, amino acids do. And lentils deliver them more efficiently, more sustainably, and more gently than nearly any food on the planet. Behind their plain appearance lies one of the most sophisticated nutritional systems nature ever made. They don't just fill your stomach, they rebuild your future. Every bite is a quiet rebellion against aging. Every serving is a declaration that strength has no expiration date. Forget the myths, forget the marketing. Real power doesn't come from a supplement store. It comes from the soil, small, simple, and strong, just like you. After 60, your body begins whispering a truth most people refuse to hear. Energy fades, muscles thin, and even the simplest tasks, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, rising from a chair, start to feel like resistance training. But what if the problem isn't age at all? What if it's depletion, an invisible drain of minerals, vitamins, and oxygen that weakens every muscle fiber from the inside out? Hidden inside a single spoonful of lentils lies a cocktail of nutrients so complete it can reignite the body's natural power source cell by cell. Scientists call it nutritional density. I call it the fuel of youth. Because lentils don't just give you protein, they rebuild the entire biological machinery that makes muscle possible. Each lentil is a living storage capsule of iron, magnesium, potassium, folate, and B vitamins, the raw materials your cells need to convert food into energy and energy into motion. When you eat them, it's like lighting up thousands of dormant circuits throughout your body. Iron is where it begins. After 60, most people quietly slip into borderline iron deficiency without realizing it. They feel tired, winded, unfocused, and blame it on aging. But iron is the metal in your blood that binds oxygen, the molecule every muscle cell breathes. Without it, your mitochondria, those microscopic engines inside your fibers, suffocate. Lentils deliver a plant-based form of iron paired naturally with vitamin C precursors that enhance absorption. A 2021 American Journal of Clinical Nutrition review showed that adults who consumed legumes 4 times a week had significantly higher ferritin levels, iron stores, than those who relied solely on animal protein. That means stronger red blood cells, more oxygen per heartbeat, and more endurance for everything from morning walks to life itself. Then comes magnesium, the forgotten mineral of strength. More than 300 enzymes in your body rely on magnesium to make ATP, the currency of cellular energy. Yet nearly 70% of people over 50 are deficient. When that mineral dips, muscles cramp, sleep worsens, and recovery slows. Lentils restore that balance naturally. 1 cup provides about 20% of your daily magnesium, enough to resynchronize nerve impulses and muscle contractions. Researchers at the University of Palermo found that older adults with higher magnesium intake retain 40% more muscle mass and grip strength over 10 years. 40%. That's not nutrition, it's preservation of independence. And then there's potassium, the quiet stabilizer. It balances sodium, controls blood pressure, and keeps every muscle fiber electrically charged. You lose potassium through sweat, stress, and diuretics, and as levels drop, muscles lose tone and coordination. Lentils supply more potassium per gram than a banana. One serving helps your cells maintain hydration and nerve firing speed, reducing fatigue and tremors that often come with aging. In a study published in Hypertension Research, participants who added a cup of legumes daily lowered their systolic blood pressure by 6 points in 8 weeks, proof that this tiny food doesn't just feed muscle, it protects the vessel delivering life to it. But the miracle of lentils doesn't end with minerals. It continues in the form of folate and B vitamins, the molecular spark plugs for DNA repair and red blood cell creation. Folate deficiency after 60 can shrink muscle cells by impairing protein synthesis. Lentils contain one of the richest natural sources of folate on Earth. Every cup provides roughly 90% of your daily requirement, shielding your body from the silent breakdown happening in every tissue. Studies from the National Institute on Aging show that older adults with optimal folate levels exhibit better muscle performance, sharper cognition, and even longer telomeres, the protective caps of our DNA that shorten with age. Every spoonful is a microscopic act of rejuvenation. And then there's fiber, the unsung hero. Most people think of fiber as digestion's helper, but few realize it's also muscle's secret ally. The soluble fiber in lentils feeds gut bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, which calm inflammation throughout the body. Chronic inflammation is the silent fire that eats away at muscle tissue, making it harder to grow and easier to injure. When scientists in Finland measured inflammatory markers in older adults, those consuming high fiber legumes had up to 45% lower levels of C-reactive protein, the key indicator of systemic inflammation. Less inflammation means your body can finally use the protein you eat for repair instead of constantly fighting invisible damage. Think about how interconnected this is. Iron brings oxygen. Magnesium turns that oxygen into energy. Potassium keeps your nerves firing. Folate rebuilds your DNA. Fiber cleans the battlefield. And all of them exist together in a single plant that costs less than a cup of coffee. Nature didn't design lentils randomly. It designed them like a perfect symphony, each mineral a note, each vitamin a chord, each molecule playing in tune with the others. That's why cultures around the world that eat lentils daily, India, the Mediterranean, parts of Africa, show dramatically lower rates of muscle-related decline and metabolic disease compared to Western populations. Their elders walk upright, their joints stay supple, and their energy remains youthful because their diets are rooted in this humble legume. Modern science keeps confirming what ancient wisdom already knew. In one landmark study from the University of Manitoba, older participants who consumed just 2 servings of lentils per week increased leg strength by nearly 25% after 3 months, without changing their exercise routines. The researchers traced the improvement to a combination of better nutrient absorption, improved blood flow, and reduced oxidative stress. It wasn't a miracle drug. It was food, real food, working exactly as evolution intended. The shock is how quickly it happens. Within days of switching to a legume-rich diet, many people report steadier energy, deeper sleep, and fewer sugar crashes. That's not placebo. Lentils' complex carbohydrates release glucose slowly, giving your brain and muscles a constant trickle of fuel instead of the roller coaster spikes that drain vitality. Over time, that stability restores insulin sensitivity, a key factor in preventing the muscle wasting spiral linked to type 2 diabetes. In simple terms, lentils teach your body to use food again, not store it. So what you experience on the outside, firmer arms, stronger legs, sharper focus, is just a reflection of what's happening deep inside, cells that finally have what they've been missing for years. Nutrients that were supposed to arrive but never did. Every mineral in lentils works like a key turning a lock, unlocking energy you thought was gone forever. And that's the message science keeps repeating. Aging isn't a disease, it's a nutrient imbalance. When you correct the imbalance, you restore the function. Picture this: millions of tiny muscle fibers lying dormant, waiting for oxygen, minerals, and energy. The moment you feed them the right fuel, they awaken. They contract tighter, heal faster, and hold you steadier. That's the quiet revolution happening every time you trade a processed meal for a bowl of lentils. You're not just eating, you're recalibrating biology. And when your biology works, everything changes: posture, stamina, mood, memory. It's all connected. So the next time you feel fatigue creeping in, or watch your reflection and wonder where your strength went, remember this isn't decline, it's a deficiency waiting to be corrected. Nature already designed the answer, tucked inside a small, earthy seed that has outlasted empires and fed civilizations. Lentils are not trendy, they are timeless. They are proof that the body never truly forgets how to heal. It just needs the raw materials to remember. And the moment you give it those minerals, those vitamins, that iron, that magnesium, it begins again. Your muscles listen. Your energy returns. Your youth, in its quiet way, starts whispering back. We live in a world that convinces people that health must be complicated, that fitness after 60 demands supplements, powders, and pills with names you can't pronounce. But the truth is quietly simmering on your stove. It costs less than a single energy drink, and it can rebuild the body faster than most laboratory inventions ever could. Lentils. Simple, humble, ancient. The food of farmers, monks, and travelers. The food that powered civilizations long before gyms or protein shakes existed. The power isn't in how fancy it looks, it's in how your body uses it. When researchers from Harvard tracked dietary habits of over 90,000 adults for 2 decades, they found something astonishing. People who ate legumes, including lentils, at least 4 times a week had a 22% lower risk of muscle decline and a 30% lower risk of metabolic disease compared to those who didn't. That's not a pill, that's a pantry item. Most people think eating healthy after 60 requires sacrifice, bland diets, endless cooking, and expensive ingredients. But lentils prove the opposite. They cook in 20 minutes, they store for years, they adapt to every cuisine. You can toss them into soups, sprinkle them on salads, blend them into smoothies, or stir them into rice. The science behind their convenience is almost poetic. The starch inside lentils absorbs water and softens without destroying its protein structure, meaning every bite stays nutrient-dense no matter how you prepare it. A 2020 study in food chemistry showed that boiling or pressure cooking lentils retains over 90% of their amino acids, while fried animal proteins lose up to a third. So each spoonful gives your muscles exactly what they need, not less. But what truly makes lentils practical isn't just the cooking, it's what happens after you eat them. Because they're low on the glycemic index, your blood sugar rises slowly and stays stable for hours. No crash, no fatigue, no craving cycle that sabotages most diets. Stable glucose means stable insulin, and stable insulin means your body keeps using fat for fuel while sending amino acids into muscle cells. That's how you burn fat and build muscle at the same time. This isn't speculation. Researchers in diabetology have found that replacing half a serving of rice or potatoes with lentils cut post-meal blood sugar spikes by 35%. That kind of control is priceless for anyone fighting insulin resistance or age-related weight gain. And let's talk about cost, because nutrition has become a business that preys on fear. A tub of whey protein can cost $50, a bag of lentils, too. Yet gram for gram, they provide almost identical protein content and far more micronutrients. In developing countries, lentils are called the poor man's meat. In reality, they're the wise man's fuel. They contain no hormones, no antibiotics, no preservatives, just clean energy straight from the earth. The United Nations once labeled lentils the future food of sustainability, because they enrich the soil with nitrogen, meaning every time you eat them, you're supporting the planet too. You're nourishing your muscles and healing the earth in one act of simplicity. But people often ask, can you really build muscle without animal protein? Science gives a resounding yes. In 2019, the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition compared plant-based protein eaters with omnivores and found no significant difference in muscle growth when total protein intake was matched. The difference lies not in the source, but in the consistency. Lentils make consistency easy because they're accessible, affordable, and endlessly versatile. You can cook a batch once and use it all week. Breakfast porridge with lentils and oats, a midday salad, a warm dinner stew. They don't spoil quickly, don't demand refrigeration, and don't lose potency when reheated. For older adults with limited energy or mobility, that simplicity can mean the difference between eating well and giving up. Now imagine pairing lentils with grains, brown rice, quinoa, or even barley. Together they form a complete amino acid profile, supplying all 9 essential amino acids your body can't make. That's the same biochemical completeness as eggs or steak, but without the cholesterol. And when you add a squeeze of lemon or a few bell peppers on the side, vitamin C unlocks the iron inside, making it easier for your bloodstream to absorb. Nutrition doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be understood. In that understanding lies freedom. But convenience alone doesn't hold attention. Results do. In a 2020 trial from the University of Toronto, adults over 60 who added a daily cup of cooked lentils reported 18% greater leg endurance and 14% better balance after 8 weeks, even without exercise changes. The researchers credited consistent mineral intake and fiber-driven improvements in gut health. Your gut isn't separate from your muscles, it's their ally. 90% of your serotonin is made there. When your gut microbiome thrives on lentil fiber, your mood stabilizes, your motivation returns, and your body finally listens to the mind asking it to move again. Think about the ripple effect. One bowl of lentils at lunch steadies blood sugar, which calms hunger at dinner, which reduces nighttime inflammation, which improves sleep, which boosts growth hormone, which rebuilds muscle overnight. It's not a small change, it's a chain reaction that reprograms your physiology day by day. Aging isn't an avalanche, it's erosion. And erosion can be stopped when the right nutrients arrive consistently. Even the act of preparing lentils brings something restorative. The rhythm of rinsing them, watching them soften, seasoning them with turmeric or garlic. Each step a quiet reminder that healing doesn't require hurry. Those spices add even more power. Turmeric's curcumin reduces oxidative stress in muscle tissue by up to 40%, according to frontiers in aging neuroscience. Garlic amplifies nitric oxide, widening blood vessels, delivering oxygen faster. You're not just making a meal, you're engineering vitality in your own kitchen. What's shocking is how few people realize the timing of meals matters too. Eat lentils within 1 hour of physical activity, even light walking or gardening, and your body turns them into pure recovery fuel. That's because post-exercise, muscle cells open like doors, ready to absorb nutrients. Feed them protein then, and synthesis doubles. Scientists at Maastricht University confirmed that timing plant protein after movement triggers the same anabolic response as animal protein in younger adults. And it's even more effective in older adults when digestion is slower. The body isn't against you, it's waiting for you to cooperate with its timing. And while lentils work at the cellular level, they also work at the emotional level. They restore a sense of control. Because once you realize strength doesn't come from expensive products but from the patience of preparing real food, you stop feeling powerless against age. You start feeling like a participant again, not a victim of biology, but the author of your next decade. That's what this food symbolizes: self-reliance, independence. The quiet kind of confidence that comes from knowing your health doesn't depend on wealth, but on wisdom. So when you open your pantry tomorrow, look past the boxes and the marketing claims, find that small bag of lentils, rinse them, cook them slowly, taste them thoughtfully. Know that in that moment, you're feeding more than hunger. You're feeding endurance, clarity, resilience. You're proving to yourself that healing is not about finding something new. It's about remembering something ancient. The secret isn't in another diet trend or protein powder. It's right here in the simplest meal you can make. A food so gentle it can rebuild your muscles, balance your blood, and steady your heart, all while costing less than the coffee in your hand. That's not magic. That's biology done right, and it's waiting for you, one spoonful at a time. If you found this helpful, please share it with someone you care about. Make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more simple, science-based ways to keep your body strong and healthy. This is Dr. Mandell wishing you abundant health. God bless.